Hello you beautiful people. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how you can be your most productive, how you can get more things done, how you can stop procrastinating, and how you can really make movement as well. And these are the same techniques I have used to grow my business, grow my social media following, get more high-powered connections, make 5 figures in a month in my business, make 5 figures in a day in a business, and more as well. And I'm gonna give it to you all for free. I'm gonna tell you one of the biggest hacks that I have personally found. And the reason why I want to do this is I actually surveyed a lot of my audience a little while ago, and basically one of the most important things that stop them from actually getting to where they want to go is basically they don't execute enough. Either they're not consistent enough, they overthink, they are a bit of a perfectionist, or they just generally aren't really taking action. And I have been there as well, so I want to kind of lay it all out to you in this video today. So I actually joined a business community. I joined it years and years ago now, and it was consulting.com, and the founder of it was Sam Ovens. And Sam was a massive proponent of basically you should focus, you should cut out all sorts of distractions, anything that's not adding to your goal, you should ruthlessly cut it away and essentially lock yourself in a room and just focus on the work. Now, I tried that for a while and it worked for a little bit, and then I actually became quite unhappy, and I actually went even worse at getting things done. I started to really struggle, and as a result, my results really went downhill. And I was watching a Tai Lopez video, and he was saying that everyone should read this book. Basically, this is called Managing Oneself. It's by Peter Drucker, and Peter Drucker is a fantastic business type person who has a lot of philosophies around business and that. And in this book, it talks about how you should manage your strengths. And I remember listening to Tai Lopez, and he was talking about how you should only really operate from strengths, and you should try and nail down exactly what your strengths are. And to do that, you should pick this book up. So I picked this book up, and this book basically talks about how if you are constantly in life trying to operate from your weaknesses, right? So say, for instance, you are, working in a very detailed, introverted job, or a career path, or some sort of business as well, where it's very detailed, introverted, but you are in fact an extroverted person who's very good around people. You're probably not going to do very well there. Likewise, if you are a very introverted, sort of analytical person who needs to kind of shut themselves away all the time, you're probably not going to do very well at presentations. You're probably not going to, you can give compelling presentations for sure, but it's probably not going to be your strength, right? And this book was saying that you should essentially do what Gary Vee says in triple down on your strengths. Work out what your strengths are and triple down on them. Now, in this book as well, he explains that basically it's very, very hard to actually work out what your strengths are. And the reason why is because we lie to ourselves all the time. Sometimes we'll have a bad day, and we'll criticize ourselves, but it wasn't really our fault. It was just the fact we had a bad day. We've had a bunch of good ones, and we're kind of due a bad one, right? It just happens. It's life. And essentially, it's very, very hard to get realistic feedback about ourselves. So Peter Drucker in this book outlines that basically what you should do is look at your previous 12 months. Look at what areas have went well, look at what areas you naturally gravitate to, look at what areas your strengths are, and only really do those things going forward. So, a great way to find out like what your actual strengths are is to look at the feedback as well. But I'm also going to, caveat this and add something else and say a great way to find out what your strengths are is to actually do personality tests. There's a few different ones out there. I highly recommend Myers-Briggs, and I highly recommend Hexaco as well. Start with Myers-Briggs though. And you can, if you just bear with me 1 second, I will tell you what the website address is for the personality test. Myers-Briggs. So there's a few different ones. 16personalities.com. Numbers 16personalities.com has a Myers-Briggs test. And when I did the Myers-Briggs test, I was an ENTJ, which was actually quite a rare personality type. But essentially what it means is that I'm an extroverted, judgmental person who likes efficiency, who's very competitive, needs to be in competitive environments, needs to be, constantly battling things, needs to be constantly looking from logical approaches at things as well. Now, Sam Ovens is actually an INTJ. And what that essentially means is that like he is an introverted version of that. But he works a little bit differently. He can actually take himself away into, the woods, wherever he lives now, in a forest, and he is very good at just sort of hiding away in a forest and like coming up with great ideas by himself. Whereas I need to constantly be speaking. I need to either be running a team, communicating, being extroverted, presenting, or something like that. Something efficient in a competitive environment, which is exactly why when I attempted to do his routines, it would have been great for an INTJ, but for me, an ENTJ, it's very, very tough to be. So other good examples of INTJs are, because this website actually tells you, 16personalities.com, it actually tells you like what other famous people are your personality. And even just a quick Google, if you do the tests on this, you can actually Google like the 4 letters it gives you. And then you can actually go out and just type in Google, like, this is, what other celebrities are this type of personality? And it'll come up with a bunch of them. So other personalities, other celebrities, other like well-known people that are my personality, not gonna sound great, all right? But one of them's like Gordon Ramsay. If you watch any of Gordon Ramsay's stuff, the celebrity chef, he's yelling at people, he's calling them an idiot sandwich. Some of the stuff he says is absolutely hilarious. But he's very explosive, very competitive, very logical, needs to be speaking as well, constantly communicating as well. Now, he's probably quite an extreme version of that personality, but if we can take what he does, if I watch what he does, I'm kind of like, yeah, in a similar sort of way, I think like him as well. I'm also thinking from a logical perspective. I'm also quick to criticize either myself or even if I don't criticize someone externally, verbally, which I don't really, unless I'm managing a team, but I'll criticize them almost in my head, and I do it automatically. I actually tried to iron this out for myself for a little bit, tried to get rid of this, but it actually got a little bit worse when I tried to iron it out, so we're not doing that again. But basically, other celebrity personalities like mine, Jordan Peterson, the psychology professor, you see him all over YouTube, he is also an ENTJ. Alex Hormozi, I was looking the other day, he is most likely an ENTJ as well. Has to win, very social, it looks great in front of the camera, via talking and presenting to people as well, getting crowds going, also hyper logical as well. And these sort of personalities all try and drive towards one goal. Now the thing is, if you try and adopt some behaviors or try and do a routine that isn't suited for you, you can start turning inwards on yourself and being like, I'm just not very good at this, it's not going well for me, I must be unintelligent, I must not be very good at this, right? But the best thing to know about yourself is that you have to manage yourself, and the only way you can manage yourself is by knowing truly how you operate and what your personality is like and what you must do to actually drive forward. And luckily that website that I gave you, 16personalities.com, it actually tells you your strengths. It tells you your weaknesses as well. So when Peter Drucker says you work from your strengths, I wouldn't necessarily ignore my weaknesses, right? I know that sometimes I can be a bit too much like running towards a goal. And sometimes it'll just benefit me a little bit if occasionally I just sit back and evaluate where I'm going, right? Because sometimes I can actually end up chasing my own tail because I'm just so like concentrating on trying to get there, which is an actual problem. It lists like about like, weaknesses of ENTJs. So now like I put like regular planning sessions at the start of my days, when I'm gonna go and I'm gonna like operate my business for the day. I put like regular planning sessions at the start of the days. I actually stand here, and if I haven't got a person to bounce off, what maybe it's like, I haven't got like a team member or, a friend or somebody to bounce ideas off. Because I'm an extra, I need to be bouncing ideas off people. What I will do instead is I will literally stand right here and I will draw out complex like things for the day. I will work out loud. I will be speaking to myself. So I need to do this. And what happens if this happens? How do I get this done? I'm asking great questions of myself. What would I do if this was not an obstacle? What would I do here? Why am I worried about this? I talk to myself and I actually, talk about like what I'm trying to do, my hopes, my fears for it as well, like my anxieties around it. And it really, really kind of unlocks my brain almost and helps me sort of drive forward. And I estimate I have probably been at least 4 times as productive by doing this, right? I even have a day once a week that I allocate to working with one of my business buddies. Like, he's based in Austria and we get together over a Zoom call. We like open up a Zoom room and we work remotely with each other. We, talk to each other. We open up the Zoom room. We talk to each other about literally what we're trying to, do for the day, like what our goals are. And then like every now and again, we'll just take ourselves off chat and just say, how's it going? What are you up to? And things like this. Pretty much like we're in a corporate environment, in an office, and like after you've done a little bit of your task or done a little bit of what your boss is asking of you, you actually start just a general chit chat, general conversation with someone. I try and organize things like this because this is managing my entire strength as well. Also, in terms of like getting more people around me, I work with contractors and assistant. I make sure that, if I could get some extra labor from somewhere, even just a place to bounce ideas from, such as like family members or friends or like, somebody who I can pretty much say, would you mind doing this for me? I know that you're looking to do something like business. It's a bit of experience for you. I'll pay you as well. Why don't you come and do this for me? And then I've got another person to bounce ideas off. I try and organize my life around essentially my strengths and being able to manage people, being able to interact with people, being able to problem solve on like sort of logical levels as well. Hence why I do like the daily sort of reviews of myself where I stand at my whiteboard and look like an absolutely insane man talking to myself. But this is what you should be doing as well. And my point of this video is, I was looking through YouTube the other day and there's so much like productivity advice out there that is absolutely essentially like people just Google on YouTube, Google on like Google or YouTube things, how do I be productive? And then they will make like a video basically listing off like a Google result, right? You must do the Pomodoro technique. You must do X, Y, and Z. You must do that. And it's never founded in like real world experience. This is founded in real world experience. And it might just be some of the greatest productivity advice that I've ever seen, right? And I've tried it and I've tested it and I've tried a whole bunch of different things. And this absolutely works the best, right? So I'm hoping that you guys can get something out of this. Just a quick video for me today, because I know like I've worked with a lot of entrepreneurs now. I've worked with like 5-figure entrepreneurs, 6-figure entrepreneurs, 7-figure entrepreneurs, 8-figure entrepreneurs. And what I've noticed is that they all kind of have the same problem if they're not getting results. If they're not getting results, they're generally not acting on something. I was working with a client recently and I gave this client like a task to do. It was actually like a CEO of a company. And I was like, we need to do, it was on a Thursday night. I was like, we need to do X, Y, and Z. And he was like, but Rob, he was like, we've never done anything like that before. You know, it's completely like alien to us. Like, why would we do this? I was like, yeah, I get that, but we need to do it. I explained it to them. I spoke to them again on like Monday. These guys had done like all of these tasks, right? They'd done like literally everything I'd asked of them. And some of these tasks were quite complicated. I did not expect them to do that like straight away, right? And I knew that these guys were going to get good results, and they did get good results because they just followed through. They took action, they were consistent, they were productive. But one thing I noticed about that CEO is he manages himself. He works exactly to his strengths. He knows exactly what his strengths are, and he knows what his team's strengths are as well. So he's like, you do this, you do this, you do this. When I used to work in the bar industry, like I used to essentially like be the assistant manager of like a bar/restaurant. And I got told off one day because I essentially didn't have the right people in the right places. And I learned this lesson when I was quite young. They were like, you should always have your aces in places. And aces in places essentially means you should always have your people with the right strengths operating on the right jobs as well. That includes yourself. Like if you're strong at something, like you do that thing. If other people are strong at something, they should do that thing. And it's always the same. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you got a lot out of it. And leave me a comment below if you like videos like this, because I like talking about it. It's kind of like psychology as well. And I'm all about like, how can I hit that potential? How can I get more out of myself? How can I like really sort of push myself forward and, you know, unlock different heights, unlock, you know, new things as well, unlock different sort of belief system in myself, but also get great results outside as well, and you know, make money in my business and everything like that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and see you soon. See you in the next one.